Hey, what's up, guys? Tugi here, back again with another episode of my Montreal Canadiens franchise mode series right here at NHL 18. You know the deal. Let's get right down to business because the question that we left the last episode on was, what exactly do we do with our team? How do we set it up? We have so many players that could be a part of this lineup. What's the best way to progress? And I put some thought into it. Do I move this player? Do I move that player? What do we do? I've taken all your feedback into consideration, and I think this is how we are going to start this season. Now, this is the current lineup as it stands, and you'll notice that a few things are maybe not what you expected. I will say, first things first, if I go best lines, it does put Joel Farabee on the second line over Brady Tkachuk. Trust me on that. I know it's a little bit risky because Brady Tkachuk is a second-line player. Like, bottom line is this lineup right now depends on whether or not... I mean, the only way it works is if we can keep certain players happy and not have them kind of dropping overall because of the morale system, which is something that we ran into a lot of trouble with Alex Galchenyuk, and that's why we had to trade him. So right now, this is a very risky move to have our lineup set up in this manner. Of course, Joel Farabee is only a depth forward, but you look at those, you look at his attributes. He is good enough to be in a top 6 spot. Limited time that he played last year, he had 7 points in 10 games, and he has torn the AHL apart. So I'm willing to give him that chance, just like I gave Josh Norris that chance a little bit sooner than maybe he should have had it. But he had a great season, and now he's up to an 84 overall. Of course, Kasperi Kapanen, one of the players we have to keep an eye on. He is a first-line forward. We're keeping an eye out on Jesse Puljujarvi and whether or not he is able to kind of return to form. He had a miserable postseason, but in the regular season over the past 2 years, he has been fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. So we got to keep an eye on those two. On the third line, Brady Tkachuk, our big offseason signing. We only signed him to 1 year. That's all he wanted. We gave him the extra money to make sure that he signs. There's a good chance he won't stay on this team beyond this year. And depending on who's upset, I mean, it might just be worth letting go of him. And as cheap as that may be to just sign someone for 1 year and then trade him, we had the ability to do so because of all the cap space. Gallagher, also on the third line. Again, he's been incredible for us, especially over the past few years, especially last year, a new career high in points. So it does kind of suck to have to put him on the third line. But the only way he gets up to the second line is if we do have to cut ties with Puljujarvi, if he just continues to be in that little bit of a slump. But the top 9 as it stands, if we can keep that intact and not have people be upset about it, oh my God, we're going to run the league. How could we not? And the fourth line, we have gone with the youth, Samu Jääskeläinen, Murray Heinold, and Preston Garlock. Now, much like Farabee, Jääskeläinen is a depth forward, but we want to give him that little bit of extra time to try and develop. And of course, on the defensive side of things, I know some people might still be like, oh, Darnell Nurse on that top pairing, and I get that, but over the past few years, he and Dumba have been pretty dominant. We will keep an eye out on that. And of course, Sam Girard is now on the third pairing over Victor Mete. The goaltender, of course, is Carey Price, 35 years old. My goal for the series was to win a cup with him. That is still the goal. We'll see what Anthony Stolarz can do. I didn't want to hand him a 2-year deal. Of course, moving into the next draft, we really need to start focusing on finding that goalie for the future, because as it stands, I don't know if we have that goalie for the future in our current lineup. It's certainly not Michael McNiven. It's certainly not going to be Neil O'Halloran. We do have a couple of goalies signed that we just drafted. Hopefully it can be one of those two. We also need to go out and sign a 5th goalie, which brings me to the AHL lineup and what I'm currently doing. Because I haven't made any trades. I'm going to try and keep this team intact and keep everybody happy. Now, of course, Frolik, Tierney, McCarron, Shore, they were all a part of the team last year in the bottom 6. I want to keep them for now. If they complain, we get rid of them. If not, and somebody struggles, we have the replacement right there. Another player, of course, we have to worry about is Kip Conklin, who is technically a 4th-line guy. He's not, though, at all. So we'll see if he can continue to develop. One player that we do have to get rid of, Tyler Benson, is going to be the guy that we get rid of to be able to sign a fifth goaltender. And same thing on defense. Victor Mete is still there. So right now, the healthy scratch is it's a bunch of prospects who might make it, they might not. So I'm not too upset about it. Tim Bolig, though, will get into the lineup, which is nice, and is all the more reason to cut ties with Tyler Benson, who is never going to be more than a career AHLer. So again, it might not be what everybody thinks, is the best move for the team. We will make moves this season. It's inevitable. I mean, if the current NHL lines prove to be the correct way to go, then perfect, and we're good to go, and we can get rid of Frolik, and we can, get rid of the majority of those players and hope for the best. And of course, as I mentioned, Cassian and DeRozier is currently down in junior, but even DeRozier's 18 years old, only a 53. There's no guarantee that he's the goalie for the future, but he could be used to get that goalie of the future. We'll find out. We have a lot of question marks, but again, for the moment, our focus is winning, and that is exactly what we're going to look to do. Now the question is, what goalie can I bring into the team? Again, we're looking for a fifth string goalie, so someone below a 74, more than likely, because we're going to want Hallinan to play. So it's pretty much just a throwaway player. As, man, that Corey prospect's actually looking pretty good. Lucas Corey, second round pick for Anaheim. Again, we haven't put a whole hell of a lot of focus into the team. Danielson, 73 overall, 21 years old. We haven't put a whole hell of a lot of focus into, and you know what? Let's just find a team that we can send Benson to, and we'll sign someone off the free agent list. We haven't focused on scouting goaltendies. Goaltendies? we haven't focused on scouting goaltendies. I'm going with that. Fuck it. Goaltendies. We haven't really focused on it. So I was going to say tendies and goaltenders, and it came out goaltendies. Hashtag goaltendies. Can that be a thing? I hope not. Anyway, there we go. So maybe not the best idea to trade Benson to Montreal. Or Benson to Boston, I should say. From when we're Montreal. But we should be okay. I'm sorry. I'm just so stuck on the fact that I said goaltendies. That's incredible. We'll just go best lines. It doesn't really matter. I'm sure it will change a lot throughout the season. Let's go find our new fifth string goaltender. And then we're good to begin the sim on a new season. Of course, it was another playoff disappointment. And up and down. Draft Arturi Lehkonen is actually a free agent. Can't say I'm surprised, buddy, with how bad you underperformed for us. So again, it's anybody under a 74. Anybody under a 74. You got Andrew Hammond at this point. Marcus Högberg. Still haven't forgiven him. Jeremy Smith, Kristers Gudlevskis, Jack Campbell, Anton Bibeau, Maxime Lagacé, Mr. Golden Knight. Who else here that we could potentially sign? Wallin, Aiden Hill, Alex Stalock, 72 overall. That's my guy right there. Let's save Alex Stalock from having to sit at home and getting a normal job, at least for one more season. So we will sim to the regular season. I'm pretty sure I set up the scouting. That is bullshit. My roster is not full. I'm at 49 contracts, EA. That is garbage, and you know it. I actually didn't set up the scouting. That's a little bit unfortunate, so we're going to miss a couple of days on that. But what can you do? Again, we're going to focus on the 3 CHL leagues, and we'll hope to find steals elsewhere. That is hot garbage. I have at least one contract spot. That's stupid. With goaltenders, I have what, 5 on? I do have 6 under contract. I might be wrong. EA, I might be wrong. I apologize. Hold on. Hold on. Does anybody have more than 6? Yeah, actually, that's right. It is 6. Whoops. That's unfortunate. Yeah, because, for example, if I try to send Hallinan to Chicago, will it say that they have too many goalies is my question. It'll probably just be too many contracts. Yep, too many goalies. Okay, well, we can't sign a 5th string goalie, which means it's nearly a guarantee that somebody ends up being signed to an AHL level deal at some point, because I'm sure we'll have an injury. So that's going to suck, but, we'll do what we have to do. It was the same thing as to why Korea was signed last year when we ended up trading McNiven. So we'll have to cross that bridge when we come to it, and it's nearly a guarantee that we'll have to deal with it at some point. So let's go ahead. The season sim begins. I can't guarantee that we'll sim all the way through the season because, again, more than likely we will have to make trades at some point. Slow and steady, we're pretty much just going to go week by week just to make sure that, we're good to go. Unfortunately, we start the season off with a 2-1 loss to Nashville, but we bounce back with a 4-2 win to Columbus. We'll sim the next 3 days, and then the next 3 games. We'll sim the next week, and then we'll take a look at the morale for our players. As we have a 3-2 record to start the year, the Laval Rocket are amazing. Who would have thought that when they have Michael Frolik on their team? So again, we're only 5 games in. Max Pacioretty is a point-a-game player. We're currently in a 3-way tie for first place, but that means absolutely nothing, especially after the February collapse. So let's take a look. I'm more worried about ice time. All right, Kasperi Kapanen's not complaining yet. Tkachuk isn't complaining yet. Neither is Gallagher. All right, good. Nobody's complaining yet. Noah Juulsen's the one I'm worried about on defense, which, to be honest, we could just keep him on that pairing with Sam Girard. I bumped him down originally thinking that it was going to be Victor Mete that he was with. But for now, let's put Juulsen with Quentin Hughes. And, of course, Girard. Actually, did Girard drop? Yeah, Girard dropped. He was an 80. Now he's down to a 78. So that's a case of the statistical growth giving us somewhat of a false indication on how good somebody is. He is still a top 6 defenseman, so we'll keep an eye on him. But again, we do have Victor Mete there if we need him. So that's not the worst case scenario, really. Shattenkirk still has PK time. Good. Down in the AHL, is anybody complaining? Frolik's all right. Shore's all right. McCarron and Conklin. Everybody's happy so far, so that's incredible. Really, unless Victor Mete is upset, which he's not. So far, so good. Squeaky chair for the win with the way that we have set up this team. So I'm good with that. Let's keep going. Again, we'll still keep a close eye on it. We're not going to breeze through the season sim. My God, this chair sucks. It's so comfortable, but it sucks. So let's take a look here. Shootout loss to the Rangers, 4-0 loss on home ice against the Leafs, and then a 5-2 win against the Red Wings. Nobody's complaining just yet, so let's go ahead and sim to November 1st. And we'll jump to scouting the defense for a month. Hope for the best. 5-4 loss to Calgary. Win, loss, just all season long so far. Jake Muzzin for Murray Highnote and 2 second-round picks. No thank you. Don't know why the trading block is set up for us to need another top 4 defenseman, really. As we finally suffer back-to-back losses, let alone the fact that we lost 3 straight to Calgary, Philly, and then a shootout loss to New Jersey. We do bounce back with a win over Edmonton to end the first month at 5-5-2, a 7-4-1 record for the Laval Rocket. So let's take a look here. Currently on 12 points, the Buffalo Sabres 6 points ahead. So we'll take a look at some of the stat lines. Max Pacioretty's killing it. 10 goals so far. Drouin only with 7 points. Puljujarvi has 9 points. So I'm a little bit concerned about Jonathan Drouin. Was it 7 points in 12 games? That needs to be better. To be honest, I'm thinking of just changing him to a playmaker because that's pretty much what he is. And even Puljujarvi, who again, you could change to playmaker, sniper, power forward, because of the strength rating and balance for that matter. 92 and 97 for those ratings. I think I might change Drouin to a playmaker. Farabee has 7 points. That's not too bad. 5 points for Norris, 5 points for Kapanen. So that second line is struggling a little bit, at least in terms of plus-minus. At least in terms of plus-minus, with Norris and Farabee both dropping a point. Brady Tkachuk has 4 points so far this year. Isn't complaining about ice time. 6 points for Philip Deneau. 5 points for Gallagher. Again, not complaining about ice time. So that's nice. And then the fourth line, It's not great, is it? And the question is, who is under waivers? No one on the fourth line is waiver eligible, so that's good. So we might, we still have room to make changes if we have to. The one thing I am going to do, though, is change Jonathan Drouin to a playmaker to try and get him going. And actually, Nurse and Dumba are struggling a little bit, which is a little bit of a shame. So, again, we'll have to keep a close eye on the team. Let's take a look here. Carey's doing well. Stolarz is not. Not at all. So there's a good chance it's going to be a very short tenure for Anthony Stolarz. I'm glad we only gave him that 1-year deal. He wanted 2. I'm glad we avoided that situation. All right, so we'll change Drouin to a playmaker, which he's more of a playmaker anyway, but I didn't want to change any player types because for the most part, everyone's been on point and delivering. So we'll change Jonathan Drouin to a playmaker. We'll continue simming. We'll continue keeping a close eye on how this team continues to develop. We'll definitely keep a close eye, too, on Anthony Stolarz. So we'll go ahead and sim the next 3 games. We have a back-to-back against LA and Calgary. We get the win over the Kings and the win over the Flames. 3, make that 4 straight wins. 4 straight wins after a 3-game losing streak. We're up to 8-5-2. Haven't really seen anything at the top of the screen as far as morale goes, so we'll sim the next 4, including a home-and-home against the Ottawa Senators. It's a 6-4 win against Arizona, a 5-2 loss to Colorado, 5-1 win over Ottawa, and then a 5-2 loss. That is a bit of a shame. The home team wins both times. 10-7-2 in the regular season so far. Let's take a look at the standings yet again. 3 points back of Buffalo. They have a game at hand, though. We've played the most games in the division by far, which is somewhat concerning, I have to admit. So let's take a look here. Again, Pacioretty is killing it. Jonathan Drouin is not. 12 points? 12 points in 19 games? That's not awful, but I kind of expect a little bit more. Farabee with 11 points. It's not completely terrible. 9 points for Norris, 11 for Kapanen. All right, third line isn't doing too bad. Gallagher slowing down, as you would expect. Murray high note, yet to really get out of the gates here, which is a bit of a shame. I don't expect much in terms of fourth line contributions, but I'm not overly impressed with that fourth line as of yet. Down in the AHL, nobody's really dropped in overall either. So we could look to make changes relatively quickly. So we'll give it a little bit more time, just because we've been winning as of late. Nobody seems to be complaining about ice time, which again is tremendous and gives me a little bit more creativity, I would say, when it comes to how we want to set up this team. So we only have 2 games this week. People will catch up in terms of games played. We beat the Capitals 3-2 and then lost to Buffalo 3-2. At least we picked up the pity point. Let's go ahead and sim to December. We'll sim to December, and to be honest, that might be the stopping point for us. It really kind of depends on whether or not we're winning at the time, whether or not we have injuries, underperforming players. We get an offer for David Savard as well, so clearly I'm going to have to edit the trading block. 2 straight wins, make it 3. Can we make it 4 to end the month? We cannot. So we lose to the Vancouver Canucks to end the month 14-9-3 as we hit the month of December. So let's look here, shall we? Max Pacioretty still killing it. We are currently tied for second. Toronto, though, with a game at hand. 2 points above Florida, who will also have 1 fewer game played. 6 points back of the Buffalo Sabres. So again, let's take a quick look at this team. We're just kind of waiting for something to go wrong so that we can address it. But Max Pacioretty is killing it. 23 points in 26 games. 17 goals. Now, I do wonder how he's how he's doing, in terms of league-wide goal scoring. So I'm going to take a look at that really quick. And then, of course, we'll pretty much dissect whatever else we have to with this team, because we do have to take our time. Quentin Hughes, 21 points as well. Not too bad, young man. Stamkos with 41 points, but I'm more intrigued by goal scoring. He is currently tied for third in goal scoring with Sidney Crosby. Crosby's played 3 fewer games, so not bad. Patches is having a good season so far. Victor Rask, by the way, and Albert Peltier. A couple of interesting names up there. Sorry, so let's take a look at what the rest of the team is shaping up to be. Because again, we are going to have to more than likely make some decisions at some point. So Pacioretty, golden. Jonathan Drouin, 18 points so far in how many? 26 games. It's not terrible, but you'd like him to be a tad bit better. He got off to a slow start. He's starting to wake up, though, so he's good. Puljujarvi with 19 points. Again, you'd almost want a little bit better production, but it's good. I mean, I don't think you could really say, nope, he's underperforming, trade him. I mean, if you think that, then Jonathan Drouin is arguably underperforming, considering Drouin technically has a better, offensive setup. The second line, Joel Farabee has woken up. 19 points so far this season. That is what I was hoping for. On the second line, we have Josh Norris, 14 points. Again, not terrible. I'd like a little bit better from him, but enough that he can keep his spot. Kasperi Kapanen with 19 points. That's good. Not complaining about ice time. That's perfect. On the third line, Brady Tkachuk with 12 points. That's good. Question is he complaining? He is not. Philip Deneau isn't complaining. I wouldn't expect him to. Gallagher's not complaining either. But of course, that point production isn't where it could be. So, I mean, that's what I'm expecting. You could argue to put him on the power play. You definitely could. Of course, you kind of want Puljujarvi on the power play to, help him boost up that point total. Same with Kapanen, mainly because he's on the second line when he should be a first liner, so he's pretty much a lock. Even Farabee, I mean, you could argue replacing Gallagher with him, but it's more a matter of, okay, if we put Gallagher on the power play, then we really have to, limit our expectations for players within the top 6. So right now, I'm happy with this team. 12 points for Philip Deneau as well. The fourth line, Jääskeläinen with 4 points, 1 goal for Murray Highnote, 3 points for Preston Garlock. So they are struggling to kind of put up any points, really. They're all minus players. So I guess that is our big question on offense right now, is do we end the fourth line experiment and call up a Michael Frolik, a Nick Shore, potentially then a Tierney or McCarron. I mean, we can call up 3 out of 4. I mean, you could argue that it would be McCarron that gets left behind. His defense and census category is lower than the other 3, or are lower than the other 3. And Kip Conklin as well, not complaining about ice time, so that's good. And again, I still don't really want to give him the chance on the fourth line. So let me know what you think as to what we should do with our offense, and mainly the fourth line. Darnell Nurse doing all right. Not too bad. Matt Dumba, his production's a little bit lower. Of course, if I'm not mistaken, he did have a career year last year, so that's a little bit disappointing from him. Quentin Hughes, we know, has 21 points. He's doing great. Noah Juleson has 1 point. At the very least, he's not upset about ice time. Neither is Kevin Shattenkirk, who has 14 points, 8 points for Sam Girard, who would be affected by waivers. So I guess that's another question that we have. Sam Girard, do we keep giving him a little bit more time? He has 8 points in 26 games. He's only a -2. Do we keep Girard there? Or should we go with Victor Mete, yet again, who is doing fairly well down in the AHL? And of course, the last thing we have to check right now is the goaltending. So for the most part, the team's good. That's what we know. Carey Price struggling a little bit. Stolar's back up to a .907, but you'd kind of like something a little bit higher of a percentage from a backup goaltender. So I'd say now is a good time to stop for the most part. But then again, you know what? No, let's keep going. For a little bit at least. Because nothing's really going wrong. I mean, we don't have the best record. We do have some underperforming players. 6-4 loss and a 9-1 win. We'll go week by week. And then that'll be when we decide to call it. Because I'm sure, you know, the dynamic of the team will stay pretty much the same. In that the same players are going to continue to struggle. As we get an offer for Preston Garlock, I'll decline that. Of course, I need to just ignore the trade block. We lose 5-2 to the Vancouver Canucks yet again. 5-3 win to the Islanders. This next week is going to be big. Really kind of determines what we do here. We start off with a loss. We get a win. Beat Colorado. Lose to Toronto. So we are really struggling to win consecutive games. Let's sim the next three. Kasperi Kapanen was apparently a little bit banged up. We're playing Philly, Pittsburgh, and Columbus. Shootout loss to Philly. 5-2 loss to Pittsburgh. If we lose to Columbus, that will do it. We don't. It's a 4-2 win. We might as well sim to the new year. Happy New Year. We play the Arizona Coyotes. Is it the Winter Classic? It might as well be. 2-1 win against the Sharks. 3-2 loss to the Winnipeg Jets. So, I mean, technically, if you count overtime losses, we're only one win above 500. We are currently in 4th place in the division on 45 points with 39 games played. So it's close. Buffalo currently sit 8 points above us with the same amount of games played. That is a little bit concerning. We look like we're going to be a playoff team, but there really is no guarantee. Patches is still killing it. Drouin's woken up a little bit, 27 points in 39 games. I guess I'm okay with that. Puljujärvi as well with 31 points. It's not too bad. Farabee's doing well. Norris is doing okay. Kapanen, not complaining about ice time. Perfect. Tkachuk's doing relatively well. Philip Deneau, I care more about Gallagher's complaints. Again, you could still argue we're not utilizing Gallagher to the best of our ability. 7 point with Jääskeläinen, 4 points for Heinout, 5 points for Preston Garlock. And Garlock's actually not happy about ice time because he's gone up to a third-line player. That's a problem. That is a legitimate problem. The easy fix would be this right here. Garlock, Tkachuk, Gallagher, Jääskeläinen, Deneau, and Heinout. Although Philip Deneau is having a pretty damn good season. So Garlock going up to a third liner, that does create a little bit of an issue for us. You could argue utilize Brady Tkachuk as a part of a trade. It's an issue because Garlock is struggling so far this year. He only has 5 points, so I guess that'll be the question now. So what do we do with Preston Garlock? Do we send down Jääskeläinen and Murray Heinout? What do you guys think? Of course, we'll take a quick look at the AHL as well. That top pairing not as dominant as they've been in the past, but Juleson and Quentin Hughes are doing very well. Girard's turned it around. He has 18 points, so I think that's looking good. Carey Price, 920 save percentage, and we're going to need a new backup over Stolarz. That is just not good enough. As far as the NHL caliber players that are sitting down in the AHL, they're all doing okay. Nobody's complaining about ice time, I'm sure. And nope, they're not. All right, they're good. So we can keep them there for now. And that'll continue to boost up the chances for the Laval Rockets. So right now we're about at the midway point of the season. And our biggest question still, concerns the bottom six. I'm a little bit disappointed in Drouin so far, but I'm feeling all right. You could argue, now would be the right time to maybe move on from Darnell Nurse, but that is hardly a guarantee. You got to remember, better overall doesn't always mean better simming player. It's not always a guarantee that it's going to work out tremendously well. My big concern is with Preston Garlock, who, again, we could send back down to the AHL, but at this point, that's not really an option. He'll be way too upset about that, just because of the fact that he is now a third liner. So guys, we will stop it here. January 1st, it's a new year. So far, it's been a decent season, but needless to say, we need a couple of players to step up. We have to improve our backup goaltending. We'll look to do that at the start of the next episode, one way or another. League-wide, we are currently in 12th in the league. The Vancouver Canucks are actually the best team in the league. So there you go. Goals for per game, we're at a .303, which is, just outside the top 10, if I'm not mistaken. So that's not too bad. 279 goals against average is towards the bottom half of the league. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10th lowest number in the league, tied with Pittsburgh. Let's take a look at our power play percentage, 19%. Yeah, so the power play needs to be switched up. The penalty kill is at 80.4, which isn't too bad, but I'd like it to be a little bit better. So the penalty kill, decent. Power play needs work. We need to figure out just what the hell we want to do with this team and whether or not we just keep with the status quo. Give Preston Garlock a chance on the third line and, see how Philip Deneau does on the fourth line. So guys, let me know what you think. It's an interesting team. This season really could go either way at this point. I don't know if we'll win the division, but you could argue that we'd, really easily be a playoff team this year, or it could go off the rails and we could be absolutely terrible. I'm not sure which one is more likely. Again, let me know down in the comments below. But for now, that will do it for this one. I appreciate your support as always. If you enjoyed the video, make sure to drop it a like and subscribe if you haven't already, while I continue to beg and plead for all the normal things that all YouTubers beg and plead for. All right, maybe not all. Some people like to be edgy and be like, "Oh, never ask for likes." They want you to like the video. They do. Don't let them fool you into thinking they don't care. They care. Everybody cares. Everybody. Links are in the description to my Twitter and Twitch, of course. Give me a follow on both of those platforms if you have not already. And until next time, hopefully I feel better, because I feel sick as hell right now. I'm going to bed. Have a good one. Take it easy.